Yo, what's happening, boys and girls? How the devil are we? Shanksy here, and today it is time to break down yet another team. Everything you need to know about. Insert random team here. And today it is the Brotherhood. This is your life. Yo, what's happening, boys and girls? You know, I had no idea what I was going to do this video on until we done the intro. I knew I was going to do a breakdown team, but I didn't know which one we were going to break down. And I was like, you know what? It's time for the Brotherhood. This is your life. So, there are two Brotherhood teams. Basically, you have got the OG Brotherhood team, which is this lineup at the top here. Magneto, Juggernaut, Mystique, Pyro, and Sabretooth. However, with the invention of the Marauders, Mystique and Sabretooth have been jogged on. We did cover the Marauders last time in everything you need to know about, so we do know that Mystique and Sabretooth are, while be it great characters, no longer part of this initial lineup. Now, I still use them in Blitz in this lineup because the Marauders are pretty good with a bunch of different villains, right? But if you are going into war, these guys need to be on the Marauders team with Mr. Sinister. I'll link the video at the end here. So we are left with the new Brotherhood team. So let's have a little look at them. We'll start with Magneto. Magneto, of course, being a legendary character, needing mutants to unlock him. 7-star mutants to get your 7-star Magneto. Magnetic Force is his basic ability. Basically attacks the primary target with a little bit of piercing, chains to 1 or 2 people around him, little bit of extra damage. Not worth tier 4 in for a little bit of extra damage. It hits okay. He's not really known for his huge damage dealing abilities, however. This polarized beam is an absolute beauty. Attack primary target for 240% damage, plus 20% piercing, and apply disrupt for 2 turns. Apply slow for 2 turns, and remove all positive effects. This skill right here makes them a very, very, very big counter for Coulson and Shield security teams, right? So this is an absolutely great one. Extra damage on the tier 4 plus guaranteed to remove all positive effects is pretty damn huge. Magnetic Vortex is probably the skill that he's best known for, however. And this is his opening ability. He also basically goes super, super fast. The more villains, the more mutants, the more Brotherhood that you have in the team. So pull all of the enemies into 2 spaces towards the primary target. Then attack the primary target and targets within 2 spaces for 210% damage and apply blind. This attack is unavoidable and cannot be countered. And this is what's so big about this as well. So even if you blind the enemy Magneto, or even if your Magneto's blinded, he can still land his 2 major skills without a problem. Then his passive is Brotherhood of Mutants. On spawn, fill speed bar by 15% plus 15% speed bar per Brotherhood ally. On enemy crits, apply speed up to self and all Brotherhood allies. Gain 10,000% extra resistance against taunt. Brotherhood allies gain 10,000% resistance against taunt. Gain 60% resistance. Brotherhood allies gain 60% resistance. Gain 60% focus. Brotherhood allies gain 50% focus. Plus 30% max health for himself and Brotherhood. He basically makes the Brotherhood an absolute unit. So, let's have a little look at the rest of the guys. We're going to move on to Juggernaut now. And Juggernaut is their tank. Juggernaut is their guy. But he's now got the real close composition from Blob as well. Blob can tank some damage, baby. These two big lads. These 2 lads can tank some damage. Right, Overwhelming Blow is his basic ability. Attacks the primary target, plus he gains a charge up to a maximum of 4 charges. 80% chance to gain ability energy. This attack cannot be blocked. It can be dodged, it can be avoided, it just cannot be blocked. A movable object is his special ability. Gain taunt, defense up for 2 turns, and immunity, and death proof, and regen If Magneto is an ally, gain taunt for 2 turns. Now, if you were to tier 4 this, you can gain 2 regeneration as well. I just don't really think it's worth it personally. But Crushing Charge is attack primary target and adjacent target for 320% damage. Damage is increased by 80% per charge. Keep in mind, we can stack up to 4 charges. That is an awful lot of extra damage. This can basically double this damage up, right? From 320 plus 80% per charge is an additional 320. It's absolutely huge. You can then also give it a little bit more damage with tier 4s, but to be honest, I don't really think it's worth it. However, his tier 4 ability, in my opinion, is on turn, gain charge up to a maximum of 4. On spawn, clear all but 1 stack of charged. If any charge were cleared, fill speed by 40%. Makes them, I don't know, I don't want to say they're viable in raid because I don't think they are that viable in the raid. But it gives them maybe 1 or 2 nodes, especially on like your alphas or your Greeks, that type of thing. If Magneto is an ally, when an enemy attacks this character, feed the fill speed bar by 20% for this character and all protector allies. Gain 5% max health, extra resistance, 1000% resistance while he has immunity, and 1000% resistance against stun. It takes a lot to get through a Juggernaut, especially a super tanky Juggernaut. It takes an awful lot to get through. Well worth taking up to 71 for that extra focus as well, extra resistance. Well worth taking up to. Right, now, we're going to move on to Pyro, who in my opinion is one of the most underrated characters in the game. Like, in the whole game. Pyro don't get a lot of love, but he's a beast. He's an absolute beast. Flamethrower is his basic, definitely his weakest of all his abilities. Attack the primary target for 120% damage. Apply bleed to each target. Lovely, right? Nothing to write home about whatsoever. However, this is where it starts turning a little bit spicy, right? Attack primary target and adjacent targets for 180% damage. Apply bleed, 2 bleed for 2 turns and clear 2 positive effects from each target. But if Magneto is an ally, clear all positive effects from each target. Now keep in mind, if you've already done the Magneto drag everyone in and then pop this, you're going to clear all of those abilities, right? All of those abilities. If that's not crazy enough, Firecraft in his ultimate ability is apply a attack primary target and adjacent targets for 230 and apply disrupt for 2 turns. If Magneto is an ally, each target has bleed prolonged by a duration of 1. This dude is an absolute beast. Like, as far as controlling what effects they can get up, what positives they can get up, this is your guy. Gain 20% extra focus is his basic ability. If he's attacked, he gains 10% on his speed bar. If Magneto is an ally, when an enemy drops below 50% health, apply heal block. What? Saucy. Absolutely saucy. Really, really solid. He's really good in all aspects of the game, in my opinion. I think he's very, very, very underrated. Right, now, it's about the new guys. Let's have a little look at these guys. So, I weren't a massive fan of these guys when they first come out. I had a little look at their kit. I thought, you know what, this is probably a pair that I could sleep on a little bit. My days was I wrong. Toad is an absolute nutter. An absolute nutter. Attack primary target for 210% damage. Apply offense down for 1 turn and slowed for 2 turns. What? Acid spray. Attack primary target and all adjacent targets. Keep in mind they're all going to be pulled in for 230% damage. Each target has all negative effects prolonged by a duration of 1. Again, not worth tier 4 in just for the extra damage. Leapfrog is his ultimate ability. Clear 2 negative effects from self. Apply taunt and defense up to an allied blob. Attack primary target for 210% damage. Clear 2 positive effects. Chain to 3 adjacent targets for 210% damage. Clear 2 positive effects on each target. Counter attack will break the chain. But if Blob is an ally, attack primary target and secondary targets for 260% damage instead. This attack cannot be dodged or countered. It gets ridiculous, right? Then we're going to move up to his passive ability, and that is gain 20% dodge chance on spawn. Fill the speed bar by 15% plus 15% speed bar per Brotherhood ally. This guy actually ends up going faster than Magneto, right? Faster than Magneto. 50% chance to gain assist now on each Brotherhood ally turn. On turn, if any Brotherhood ally is taunted, gain 1 offense up to a maximum of 3. In war, gain 50% focus, and Brotherhood allies gain 50% focus. Then we move on to Blob, and again, Blob is a character that I just totally slept on. Didn't really think he was going to be that great. My days was I wrong. Attack primary target for 300% damage, apply slow. If the target has disrupt, reduce the target speed bar by 15%. So you can see already, this team is all about just lumping on all them negative effects. Obviously, doesn't work against someone like AIM, right? But if you can get a team where you can just stack them full of negative effects, you're laughing. You're absolutely laughing. Clear all positive effects from Brotherhood allies. Copy all positive effects from Brotherhood allies to this character. Attack primary target for 290% damage. Attack all adjacent targets for 260% damage. Again, not worth tier 4ing, just for the extra bit of basic. This one is just a massive ARE, attack primary and all adjacent targets for 380% damage. And then his passive, on spawn, gain offense up for 2 turns when a Brotherhood ally drops below 50% health. Gain taunt. On enemy turn, apply deflect to a maximum of 3 to adjacent allies. Gain 40% resistance. Brotherhood allies gain 40% resistance. Gain 15% chance to counter-attack. 15% chance to counter-attack per Brotherhood ally. Ridiculous. And this is actually probably worth tier 4 in all fairness, right? This is actually well worth tier 4 on his passive. So it is worth noting that if you didn't have one or the other, and you did need to separate your Marauders for whatever reason, I personally prefer Mystique in this account. She pairs up really, really, really well with both Mr. Sinister and Magneto. So Mystique would be the one that I drop in if I didn't have either or for the new ones. And yeah, but where can you use these guys? Well, in my opinion, they're pretty viable everywhere right now. Personally, I would use them as a war attack team. I think they're much, much better when they are controlled by you. Another reason for a war defense team is sometimes either they can just get straight up countered, or literally once Magneto has done that huge blind, they're not quite as good. They really do rely on each other's synergy. So I would definitely recommend using them as an attack team. If you do see them in war, the top choice is probably the Brawlers, the Hero Brawlers to counter them. But as a lot of people use the Hero Brawlers is a defense team as well. Defenders actually do a pretty decent job of punching down a little bit, depending on whose level is really big. The defenders can actually do a job. Obviously, you need that JJ in there, essentially, to clear all of them negative effects. That is going to be the real big skill. Other ones are OG X-Men. AIM obviously counter them massively. Kree actually do a really good job as well, where we've done a video on Kree earlier. You know, obviously, they clear a lot of negative effects as well. So any team that can clear a ton of negative effects actually work out quite well. Now, for the end of this video, I'm going to show 2 different attempts with them, and basically the OG team and the new team, and see what you think. Now, the important thing is not to pay attention to the level of guys that I'm fighting, because let's be fair, this is like a brand new blitz, but the turn meter and the speed in which all these guys go, right? So for the OG Brotherhood, let's go in there straight away. No messing around. And you're going to see Magneto is just super, super quick, right? Super, super quick. Now, as far as teams that they counter in war as well, if you're looking to counter Shield Coulson, they work really, really well. You want to use a little bit different of a strategy. Instead, if you are countering a Shield Coulson team, instead of using this ability, which you're going to use 90% of the time first, you're actually going to use this ability on Coulson, and it's going to shut that whole Shield team down in a big way. So as you can see, Magneto goes first by a long way, drags everybody in there. And then we're going to go up there with our main man. Oh, you know what? In fact, to be fair, Sabretooth actually goes pretty quick as well. Sabretooth comes in there, smashes the life out of them. We'll get the taunt up just in case. We'll go in there with the basic. We'll go in there with that. Bop, bop, bop. Super simple, right? And even if they were to get a turn, keep in mind this is super low level blitz. But if they were to get a turn, they're all blinded anyway, and it doesn't matter. By the time they aren't blinded, then Juggernaut's got his taunt up and you're in a whole world of hurt. But if we change the team and we take out Sabretooth, we take out Mystique, and we use the new Brotherhood, so we're going to put in Toad, we're going to put in Blob. Now look at the difference in the speed in which these guys go. So we're going to go up against the counter, we're going to go up against the defenders, which technically are a counter to us, but to be fair, at this level, we could literally take on anyone at this level. It doesn't matter. It's such a big punch down, it doesn't matter. Right, so when we load in here, you're going to see now that Toad goes first by an absolute massive way. So we can do is clear their 2 negative effects, or we can just go in there basic. Really depends what you want to do. Now we're going to go in there with a blind. Excuse me. Now, why is that good? Because if these guys did start with any buffs, if they're in a war room, for example, that applied global buffs to everyone, then all of a sudden you're already countering and you're clearing them buffs off them all straight away, which is absolutely bloody lovely. All right, big AoE with Blob. And then we're going to gain taunt. And that's about it. So, little bit of a difference. I think Toad makes them a lot more viable to counter those Coulson teams. They did counter Coulson before anyway, but with Toad in there, it just makes it even simpler. So, can you use them in Rage? Yes, you can. Predominantly in the alphas, in the Greeks, that type of thing. But would I use them in Ultima 7? No, I wouldn't. If I was leveling them up for Ultima 7, I wouldn't. They are also very, very viable as far as Magneto and Juggernaut goes. Very, very viable for Dark Dimension 1 and 2. Maybe 3. I don't really know. I don't think anyone's viable for Dark Dimension 3. I just hate it. So yeah, that is the Brotherhood. Guys, if you've got any questions whatsoever, please feel free to leave them down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as humanly possible. I hope we covered everything that you need to know about the Brotherhood team. They are an absolutely awesome team, and well worth getting that Magneto. Get them mutants up to 7-star. There are now an absolute metric ton of mutants that are going to allow you to unlock him, right? Absolute metric ton. Let's have a little look. You've got all of these guys. If you can get them up to 7 stars, all of these guys are going to help you unlock Magneto. Wolverine, the World and his wife have got a 7-star Wolverine. Pyro, Mystique, Colossus, Storm, Sinister, Psylocke, Phoenix, Namor, Cable, Strife, Toad, Deadpool, Sabretooth, Blob, Negasonic, Cyclops, Domino. There's tons of mutants, guys. So he's actually getting a lot easier of a legendary to unlock, and is well worth. Right, guys, that is it for me. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, do me a favour, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. If you want to talk to me in person, Discord links, live stream links, all that type of good stuff. But until next time, be smart, be strong, be safe, and I'll see you on the flip side. You take it easy.